The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Wow, talk about creepy music. That is it. It's called, what was it called, Craig? Into Space. Well, that's appropriate music for my special guest of this hour, everyone. Jose Escamilla is our special guest this hour, and Jose is well known within the UFO community for his work on the Roswell rods. He's a filmmaker. This guy here has done more to bring ufology to the forefront of the common person than anyone I know. And, you know, he's been there. He does it. He continues to do it. In fact, he is so good at what he does. A very well-known film director and producer, an Emmy Award-winning producer and director, has even stolen his ideas. Jose Escamilla, welcome back to the X-Zone, old friend. How are you?
Thank you for having me on. This is always good to be on the show.
Hey, Jose. You and I have talked about the Roswell rods. We've talked about the rods underwater. We've talked about the rods on the surface in the cave here in North America, or was it Mexico or Costa Rica? Mexico. We've talked about the rods in outer space. We've talked about the rods on Mars.
Yep.
This has got to be one of the greatest unknown phenomenon, equal, if not surpassing, the UFO phenomenon. And yet, with all the work that you've been putting into the investigation, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Brandon a couple of episodes ago. How come mainstream science is not jumping on board with you to help you find out what exactly the rods are?
I don't know. It's really bizarre because I did bring it forth. We presented it to the Museum of Natural History in Denver, Colorado, and here in Los Angeles, to some scientists and paleontologists and marine biologists, and they had no idea what this thing is. But they definitely said it does look like a creature of some kind. They just don't know what the heck it is. And, you know, mainstream science, I don't know why they just don't want to check it out, because this thing is a living entity that exists among us.
Yeah.
And its capabilities are beyond this world, man. I mean, as you mentioned, we do have footage of them on Mars taken by the Curiosity rover, a big rod flying into the surface of the moon. Mm-hmm. And it's undeniable. It has the undulating fins and everything, man. It's just, I don't know what is going on with this phenomenon, but it's definitely pervasive, and it's here.
Based on the research that you've done on the rods over the years, Jose, what do you believe they are? What's your hypothesis?
You know, I don't know what to think, because these things are doing whatever it is that they do. I mean, they're constantly moving. The only time I've ever seen a rod that's, you know, just sitting there is we have a clip taken in the UK through night vision goggles,
right?
But broad daylight. It's of a rod that falls downward. It doesn't fly across the screen from left to right. This thing is just falling straight down. It's, its length is there, and it just falls straight downward. And that's the first shot of a rod that we have where it falls straight down. There was another occasion where we had one of the base jumpers flying in, falling downward at about 90 miles an hour, terminal velocity. Yeah. And this rod flies in from left to right, goes underneath the base jumper, and makes a U-turn and goes back where it comes from. But it is also falling straight downward at 90 miles an hour doing this traveling. I mean, it's just an amazing shot. So we don't know what these things are, but they definitely they're definitely here with us. And as you mentioned, we do have footage of them underwater now.
Yeah.
I recently got footage of a rod shot at 200 frames per second using the Red Cam, the Epic Red Cam, which is the highest resolution camera in the world. And it's 4K resolution, 24p, which means it's not interlaced video. Mm-hmm. The skeptics can use as, an excuse for saying it's nothing but a misfilmed insect. This thing was shot with the Red Cam, man, and it's an amazing piece of footage. It proves that this thing flying across the scene is not an insect, it's not a bird, it's not a dragonfly. It is definitely a rod.
All right, Jose, please stand by, my friend. We've got to take a short commercial break. X Zone Nation, Jose Escamilla is my very special guest, a good friend of the X Zone. His website is www.tblnfilms.com. That's tblnfilms.com. And Jose and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
Listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right. Transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Before we get back to my guest and good friend, Jose Escamilla, hour number 3 tonight, the one and only Amanda Curran is going to be joining me from her home office in Sydney, Nova Scotia. We're going to talk to Amanda about her life, her lust, and her interest in the world of the paranormal, as well as the science of parapsychology. That is our number 3 tonight here on the X-Zone from my broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Jose, you and I have, as we said in the first segment, talked many times about the Roswell rods. But how do you feel that you, Jose Escamilla, have discovered a life form that is coexisting with us in this world of ours, but it is also existing on other planets? Like, you're the father of the Roswell rods.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling, especially when you discover something like this. It's almost like discovering a new creature in the oceans. Except this thing has the capabilities of not only existing in the oceans, but also in space and now on Mars. So I'm pretty jubilated with it. I'm pretty happy.
Right.
I'm doing the next and final rods film. It's called They Live in the Skies. That's what I'm going to be producing in a few months here. Right. And, oh, God, excuse me.
Sure. I don't know where he's gone. Maybe he's gone to see a Roswell rod. Maybe he's been abducted by aliens. You never know on the show.
My God. I just got a feeling of throwing up, man. This is amazing.
I hope I'm not making you sick.
No. Hold on.
All right. Hey, this is live radio. What can I ask? What can I say? My goodness. Well, you never know what's going to happen here on the X-Zone. We're coming.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
See what I mean? You just never know what's going to happen here on the X-Zone. You've got to love this. I don't know where Jose's gone. Jose.
I went and upchucked a few little grits here, man. That's weird.
Oh.
That is the weirdest thing, man.
You know what, Jose? I've been doing this show for 25 years, and I've never had anybody barf on it before, except you. Not only are the father of Roswell rods, but you have now set yourself in the annals of the X-Zone Radio Show for being the first guest to upchuck while on air.
I'm serious, man. I've raised the bar, haven't I?
You certainly are. Yeah.
I don't know what came over me. It's just, I'm talking about the rods and everything else, and all of a sudden I get this freaking urge, man. That was bizarre. Oh, my God.
All right, so what can we talk about that's not going to make you sick?
Well, this new rods film has got some amazing footage, man. I mean, we've collected, I've been doing this for 22 years, Rob.
Yeah.
And we have a guy that's in Washington, D.C., that's using the same cameras that NASA uses on the International Space Station, super high-resolution cameras. He's filming rods over Washington, D.C. in the no-fly zone that are flying in formation and in squadrons. I mean, he has anywhere from 5 to 10 rods flying in squadron-like formation across the skies over Washington, D.C., right over the White House. And they're there. I mean, he films them every night. And he's giving us some of the most amazing footage of rod squadrons that I've ever seen. I mean, and they're huge, man. He's filming them maybe about 5,000 feet in the sky. And they are clear as a bell, man. These cameras that he's using are just amazing.
Right.
Super awesome. And his name is Wilbur Allen. Now, Wilbur has a long history with the television networks. I mean, he's he's the UFO consultant for the History Channel. He's done a lot of stuff with the Discovery Channel. Mm-hmm. He's done stuff with Ancient Aliens and a lot of the UFO TV shows that have appeared on the Discovery Channel and History Channel. He's been one of the main consultants of the UFO activity. He's got some of the most incredible footage of UFOs that I have ever seen anywhere in the world. And he's a fellow rod man. He's been investigating the rods phenomenon since I discovered him back in 1994. That's how far he goes back with us. And he has the most impressive footage anywhere in the world that I have seen. And we're going to feature a big segment of his stuff on the film, They Live in the Skies. This film is going to break all records, Rob, because it not only proves that rods are real, but it just it brings forward the fact that these things are pervasive. They are doing whatever it is they do, and they need to be checked out. Scientists have to jump on and start checking them out because they're there, man, and they're huge.
So why, like, once again, I'm going to ask you the question. This may sound rhetorical, but in your opinion, why are scientists or biologists, astrophysicists, astronomers, astronauts, scientists, or even Donald Trump getting on board this project and saying, hey, listen, we have a living entity here. It needs to be investigated. I don't understand it. It's just mind-boggling.
It's just an amazing fact that they're just not checking it out like they should, Maybe after I release this movie that hands down proves without a doubt that these things are real, maybe then scientists are going to say, look, these things are in the oceans, they're in the skies, they appear to be living. Let's start checking it out. I mean, I told a marine biologist over here at the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History, she mentioned it. She says, for all we know, we may have one of these in a jar in some underwater laboratory somewhere in the world as an unknown jelly plankton,
Yeah.
And that could be. It's just that one particular scientist that's working in that lab that has seen this specimen just has not seen the rods footage. And maybe one of these days when he sees the rods footage, he's going to say, I've seen that. We have it here in our lab, and then we'll have a specimen. But I do believe that there's probably been a specimen captured underwater.
So here we have this newly discovered, because, it wasn't that long ago that you discovered the rods, and this living entity that coexists with us, and we have all these morons who are looking for extraterrestrials when the damn things are already here.
Yeah. And the evidence is so overwhelming that all they have to look for the rods, and that's it, man. They're going to see a UFO. If people were to go out in the backyard and set up a camera and do the sky fishing protocol as I came up with years ago, and start filming for these things, they're going to capture rods, and then they're going to get the feeling of, wow, this thing was just above my house.
Yeah.
And where is it? What is it? Where did it come from? Where did it go? They're there. They're everywhere. These things are appearing everywhere in the world.
Hey, man, can you just imagine if all the ghost researchers, paranormal researchers, Bigfoot researchers, Nessie researchers, UFO researchers all decided to take, let's say, 1 month off of what they do and dedicate that time to researching and investigating the rods?
Yeah, that would be amazing, because I know that about 80% would capture rod footage in other parts of the world, everywhere.
But once again, I find it, I've been doing the show now, as you know, Jose, for 25 years.
Yeah.
And
I've been on your show since the beginning parts of your radio program, because I remember you contacted me. I was still living in Roswell.
That's right.
Yeah, and I did a show from there, man.
Yeah.
It's the first time I came on your show, and I've been...
All right, did we just lose Jose again? Jose, are you there? Reminds me of that song. Jose, can you see? Jose? Craig, where did Jose go? Craig said to the washroom to chuck some more. Oh, boy. Now we're going to see what's going on here with Jose. So why don't we... Let's see, Craig, we've got about a minute to the commercial with the news anyway, so this will be a good time to wrap. All right, Exo Nation, Jose Escamilla, who is somewhere in his home probably barfing again. It's not the show, must have been something he ate. will be back with us, hopefully, on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to visit us online, www.xzoneradiotv.com, and all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And send me your emails, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. I'll be back on the other side as we try to get Jose Escamilla back here in the X-Zone, out of the toilet bowl, so he can talk to us more about the Roswell rods, buildings on the moon, and much more. Whatever you do, don't go away. We'll be back after this commercial break with the news.
Listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Hey, brother. You okay?
Hello, that was weird.
Oh, I thought you had to make a fast dash to the toilet there.
No, I was in the middle of a sentence. But you know what, Rob? Let me tell you something. I have the president of my company here with me. His name is Curtis Hedges.
Okay.
And what we're going to do for this movie, the new Rods film, is we're going to have a page at tblnfilms.com
right,
where anyone in the world that has captured rod footage or they feel they have rod footage and they would like to submit it for it to be presented in our new film, the page will be up there where they can fill in their name and then they can upload the footage.
Okay.
And we can make a decision as having different people from all over the world that are filming rods. And I'd like to make that first announcement with you, man.
Sure, you've got it. And I'll try. Maybe we should try and coordinate a rods month where we actually get all the different researchers of other aspects of the paranormal to concentrate just for 1 month on the Roswell rods. That
would be great.
Well, let's try it.
Awesome.
Let's try it, buddy. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold for a sec, and I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Okay, cool.
All right. I'm glad you're okay.
Okay.
Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.
This is News from the X-Zone. I'm Amanda Curran. Astronomers have now begun to look to red dwarfs rather than sun-like stars in an effort to detect the first truly habitable exoplanets in our galaxy. Since red dwarfs are cooler than sun-like stars, habitable worlds would have to orbit much closer to get the required heat needed for liquid water. However, this would cause the exoplanet to become tidally locked, causing only one side to get constant light and the other constant dark, which had always ruled them out as possible candidates. Now scientists theorize that due to the rocky terrain of these exoplanets, the friction between the surface of the planet and the lower layers of the atmosphere can impact the atmospheric flow of the hot and cold air from opposite ends, providing an air conditioning system allowing for the possibility of life. Ufologists are now looking towards Earth in an effort to encounter alien beings. Experts now suggest that aliens may be here to monitor our planet's natural activity, as they are now linking an increase in volcanic activity to an increase in UFO sightings. Many claim cameras placed in the vicinity of volcanoes that monitor them 24/7 have recorded strange objects traveling along a specific and exact altitude, and eyewitness accounts from rescue workers have claimed to see slender humanoid creatures over 2 meters tall in the upper reaches of the volcano, wearing no personal protection equipment and with heels ending in sort of spikes that keeps them from slipping on the ice. Researcher Carlos Clement of the Tercer Milenio program has stated that this UFO wave was a milestone in UFO research, since with the advent of the modern age, video technology was in the hands of the citizens, and the sightings were not relegated to mere anecdotes. This group has managed to document most of Mexico's UFO activity. According to new research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science Journal, new analysis of seismic data shows that the sun and the moon could be behind the mysterious low-frequency earthquakes occurring in and around the San Andreas fault line. Scientists examined records of over 80,000 earthquakes that occurred between 2008 and 2015 and found that there was a regular increase in seismic activity aligning with the 2-week tidal cycle referred to as the fortnightly tide. Since the fault is not directly parallel or adjacent to the ocean, this implies that the gravitational forces of the moon are acting on the fault. Millions of California residents who live within the vicinity have been awaiting a severe earthquake, and hopefully this new discovery will help scientists identify when it may occur. I'm Amanda Curran, News from the X Zone.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And for all of you who are worried about Jose Escamilla, he is back with us. Apparently there was a computer glitch, and he wasn't upchucking, barfing, or throwing up like I thought he was. But he's back with us, and Jose, great talking to you, my friend. I'm glad you're okay. In fact, a number of our listeners were really concerned about you.
Well, I don't know what it was, man. Maybe I got to quit eating this crap that I eat. But, I just got that urge, man, and I went and I thought I was going to throw up a lot, but it was just a little
couple of grains.
Yeah. It was just kind of embarrassing, actually, stupid. But
like I said, you're the first. Okay, so what can we all do to try and help bring the fact to the mainstream media, to the public, that hey, Roswell rods are real. They're living with us. They're sharing this planet with us. They're sharing our oceans. They're sharing our sky. They're sharing space. God, they're even sharing Mars. What can we do?
I'll tell you what. I have the president of my company who's also my head marketing guy, and I want him to tell you what we're going to do.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
His name is Curtis Hedges.
All right.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, Curtis, we're doing great. Thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Yes, I'm very excited. So it's really simple. As Jose mentioned earlier, he has a very simple protocol where any person who has a home video camera can literally put it on its fastest shutter speed. In most cases, it's simply switching a little button on the top of your camera and screwing on a $10 ultraviolet lens. And by placing this camera on a tripod and just letting it randomly record any part of the day or nighttime sky from your backyard, let it sit there for like an hour or two and record, watch it back later, I guarantee you're going to catch a rod. I guarantee it.
What was it like the first time you actually saw a rod?
Well, for me, I had originally, before I came into TBLN, I originally saw Jose on Sightings back in the mid-90s. So, that's when I was first exposed to the rod phenomena. It wasn't until I actually did his protocol on my own when I realized that this is actually natural, this is actually real in nature, and that it's a very simple, if you will, scientific experiment that you can do for yourself to validate it. So, whereas when you go to a doctor and you break your arm, the doctor uses a special piece of technology like an x-ray machine to see what the human eye does not, and they can tell you that your arm is broken. That's the same argument I'm presenting here. I'm saying you have a piece of technology that's sitting in your home right now that can validate this all day long. And it simply takes a person who's willing to do it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so maybe we, when we start pre-production on They Live in the Skies, we'll set up this page on tblnfilms.com where people, your listeners, can tune in, fill out the form, and upload their clips.
Right.
And we'll take it from there. Who knows, man? I'm pretty certain that out there somewhere there may be even a better shot of a rod that like we've never seen before. I mean, we recently got some rod footage taken by the Red Bull network people. They were doing a base jumper that was jumping on a wingsuit, and he's falling at 140 miles an hour from this cliff, and they filming him at 2,000 frames a second, super slow motion. I mean, the guy is barely moving, and a rod flies right through the scene.
Unreal.
Pretty fast. So, we're going to try to allocate that for the film. We also have IMAX footage. We have film clips from The Expendables. There's a helicopter shot that Jean-Claude Van Damme is in, and as it's landing, there's a rod that flies right through the rotors.
Holy cow.
Of the helicopter, and I thought it was dead, but it comes up and then it flies on down its path. So we're going to try to allocate all this footage. It's going to be a licensing nightmare, but we're going to have the best rod footage ever compiled as never before. So it's going to be amazing.
We were talking before about all the different organizations and research members and communities that are out there, and I said, well, maybe we should get a hold of these guys and say, hey, dedicate a month to investigating rods. And, of course, we're going to work with you on this. But there's also the people who chase these orbs.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
I'm going to do a piece on the orbs in the rods film, because orbs do also live in the skies, and there's fast orbs that are traveling super high speeds. I have a method of filming orbs that I'm going to put into practice with my Hero 4 the GoPro, the Hero 4 GoPro camera at super high speed, where we're going to capture these orbs in flight and then show them in slow motion as never before. Because everyone that takes photos of orbs, they're usually taking snapshots.
Yes.
We're going to be taking video.
Wow.
Of these things using a strobe light that lights up the sky, sort of like a flash bulb on a still camera, but it's going to be a pulse. And so we'll be able to catch these orbs. I've got orbs that fly outside my house right now that I've captured, and there's an amazing activity going on here. So that's going to be a real highlight of the film. They live in the skies.
So tell me, Jose, what, in your opinion, are orbs?
They could be anywhere from spirit forms, spirit entities, or they may be a life form within itself, a different kind of creature. I have footage and still photography of rods of these orbs flying in front of my face. It was my 44th birthday. I was in the basement in Denver, Colorado, and I was shooting a video of myself holding up this book that had this UFO that looked like Carlos Diaz's UFO. And as I'm telling the guy that I'm sending the clip to, there's these little orbs that are flying right in front of my face. They're zipping real fast. I didn't see them with the naked eye, but when I played the tape back, there they are. I'm going to show that. But it's amazing. These things are definitely real. They're not insects, blurred insects, or anything like that. They're definitely some kind of a living entity of some kind.
Wow.
Amazing things, Rob.
Yeah.
It's an amazing unknown phenomena that needs to be checked. I mean, it needs to be checked.
It's an unknown phenomenon that has been documented.
Yeah.
By people all over the world, and as well as in outer space and on Mars. So I believe that the significance of the investigation into the Roswell rod phenomena way surpasses ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, and any other type of paranormal category that's out there.
I agree. And the reason being is we have the most impressive and incredible footage ever presented of these things, man. Unlike any footage ever seen by anyone. Like I say, Wilbur Allen's footage in itself, that pile of footage that he has automatically is just an enormous, incredible archive that just surpasses any kind of UFO footage that's out there. He's got incredible footage of rods. So it's going to be an amazing film, and you're going to be first to announce the release when we get it done. And I do want to have maybe a week where people will take a week off and go out and film rods using our sky fishing protocol and send the results into our TBLN Films website. We're going to have the page ready in about a week or so. And I'll email you and let you know when that goes up, and you can make an announcement.
Well, of course, and we'll promote the heck out of it, because I want to be like other people. I want to be brought up to speed on what this is, because like you said, you and I go way back.
Yeah.
And it's about time that everybody else joins the bandwagon and starts researching and getting the information out there so that we can finally try to put a definitive answer into the question of what are the Roswell rods.
Yeah. And you know, as I mentioned earlier, it'll only take one marine zoologist out there that sees a rod clip and says, I think we have one of those creatures in our underwater laboratory here. So, you know, or a scientist, you never know. Somebody's going to see it and recognize it, and who knows, we may have a specimen finally, you know?
What do you think? Is there a connection between UFOs, the Roswell rod, or are these two totally separate?
No, there's a connection somewhere, because it was in Roswell, Midway, New Mexico. We were having a UFO flap, and UFOs were hovering, and we were filming the UFOs at the same time rods activity showed up. So who knows, man? They might be kindred to each other, or maybe just appearing in locations where UFO activity occurs.
Is it possible that the Roswell rods were brought here inadvertently by the UFOs, like you know how the shark has these fish that tag along?
Yeah, I don't know about that. We don't have evidence of that. That's the only thing. However, rods have been around a long time. I mean, we have Aboriginal cave drawings of rods, and the stick figures of the natives pointing at these things. And these were 56,000-year-old cave drawings, Rob.
Yeah. You know, I remember one of the times you were on, I asked you, is it possible that the rod that Moses used to perform his miracles has something to do with the what we call now Roswell rods? Yeah,
I don't think so. His was more of a stick, a cane of some kind, you know, that he turned into a snake or a serpent. But
right.
No, I don't think that's the same thing.
Have you approached anybody at NASA and said, hey, listen, this is what I've got. Take a look for yourself. And by the way, you know that rover on Mars? Here's a picture it took of a rod.
Yeah, I have a couple of people that were at NASA that I'd submitted to, but they're dead, man. You know, one was O'Brien, man, that astronaut. What was his name?
Oh, my gosh. Hold on. He's been on the show.
Was it Timothy? No.
O'Brien.
What was his name, man?
Hold on. I'll check it. I'll find out.
Recently. But he was presenting with Yvonne Smith at one of her conferences, and he says, Jose Escamilla, you know, and I go, hey, how you doing? And I asked him, I said, did you ever see any rods in your, when you were in space? And he said he thought he did, you know. He mentions that other astronaut, doggone it, that actually photographed and filmed a rod outside the Apollo capsule, man. What was his name? Doggone it, that's another astronaut that filmed rods, man. But yeah, there are instances where the astronauts have seen or filmed rods, man. You can bet that's true.
I was just go ahead.
I forget his name, man. O'Brien. Man.
I know. I was just trying to check it out, and that's why. This is crazy.
Blank here. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to find out when we take our final break coming up in about 6 minutes. Have you done any more research on the buildings on the moon?
Yes, I have. And Rob, I found that there was a cosmonaut back in 1979, I believe, that was he was orbiting Earth in the capsule, and he drew a drawing of a ship that was following them in space, right above Earth. he drew this thing, and he got a lot of flack over it, man. I mean, here's a cosmonaut, famous there in Russia. He drew this object that he says was following them in space above Earth. And I looked at that drawing that he did, and I found an actual UFO on the moon that was captured by the orbiter.
Wow.
Listen, there was a UFO exactly like his drawing. So I've been trying to get a hold of him in Russia. I've contacted some people that I know in Russia that are Rod's fans, and I said, hey, if you guys have a way of contacting Andre, please tell him that I have a photograph of the object that he drew back in 1979 that was following them. It's amazing, Rob. I'm going to make a video of it and put it up on my website, and I'll send you that too so we can present that, man.
All right,
it's
buddy.
an amazing find.
Yeah, no, I checked our, Craig, my producer, checked our guest list on I was thinking about, what was his name again, Craig? Brian O'Leary. That's who I was thinking of.
That was him.
Yeah.
That was him. Brian O'Leary, yeah. He was totally into rods, man.
He was totally into UFOs as well, as I remember.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that there'll be any change in the disclosure with the new president?
No. I was ready to send Hillary Clinton my film, UFOs from Outer Space, and say, you're talking about you want to do a investigation into the disclosure. Mm-hmm. Here's the evidence, woman.
Yeah.
Check this footage out. Here's the solid evidence that proves that NASA has known and photographed UFOs, and hands down, it proves that they know. But I decided not to get involved with that political crap.
What about the topic of underwater bases?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff, man. There's some friends of mine that were over here in the Hermosa Beach that actually saw some UFOs emerging out of the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, off of Hermosa Beach. Chris Farrell, he's the one that did the music for Interstellar, my film Interstellar. Yeah. He actually witnessed 3 UFOs that came out of the ocean. And there's some activities supposedly going on with an underground or under the ocean base right off the coast here. Curtis wanted to mention something.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I just wanted to point out, because I know disclosure is like a real hot topic for a lot of people.
Sure is, yeah.
Because there's a lot of rumors of, the current president maybe saying something before he leaves office, and John Podesta, who had made an attempt before under the Clinton administration, now trying to do it again if Hillary becomes president. So this is like a real hot topic. People are real excited about it. But I'm here to tell you folks, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. The best the American government will ever do is give us kind of like a under the radar disclosure, kind of like what they call like a soft disclosure. So they'll allow people like Jose and myself and other researchers to kind of dig these kind of needles in the haystack and make them public. And that's it. They just won't say nothing, and they'll just, sleep a little better at night knowing that there's people like us out there like hunting this down. Outside of that, they are under the gun by the people that invest money into their campaigns, and the way the current system works, that they are never going to be able to give the people what we truly deserve. So with that being said, it's not like all of America has to team up against their own government to get this information. It's just that people that are most passionate just need to share what they have, and that in itself will, we have the internet as our, as the technology to drive the message, And,
Gotcha.
If we could get the kind of budgets that NASA has spent,
Thank you.
Lying to us, I mean, this disclosure thing would be over. We'd have the evidence that everybody has wanted,
All right, guys, stand by. I've got to take my final break. X-Zone Nation, Jose Escamilla is our special guest. And Jose, what's Curtis's last name?
Hedges, Hedges.
All right, and Curtis Hedges are with us this hour here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We'll be back on the other side of this short break. Don't go away.
Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. In his new book, Wandering About, author David Strumfeld talks about the universe, existence, civilization, and the nature of mankind. Wandering About is a comprehensive guide that discusses man's everlasting struggle to learn what his place in the universe is and what the true purpose of his existence is all about. By dealing with many forms of science and humanity, Wandering About also serves as an intellectual autobiography, an expedition through author David Strumfeld's mind and his life as a human being. Through the reader's views, readers will learn many relevant things such as the development of civilization through the ages, how science helped mankind to make many crucial discoveries about the universe, why people's curiosity and imagination never get satisfied, and much more. Wandering About promises to push the reader's reasons and thinking to the very edge. To order Wandering About by David Strumfeld, go to www.wanderingabout.net. That's www.wanderingabout.net. Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerreonian intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. Our two special guests this hour, Jose Escamilla and Curtis Hedges. First of all, guys, thanks very much for coming on. A great surprise having you join us, Curtis. You, as well as Jose, are always welcome here on the show. Consider yourself family now.
Well, thank you for having him on. He just split. He just went to the store to go get a Coke. But he wanted me to tell you thank you for having him on, allowing him to say his piece. But we're working it, Rob. We're working it together, and it's all going to come down very soon. We're gonna come up with the most incredible film ever made on UFOs.
I know you will, my friend. You're a hard worker. You're a dedicated worker. You make sure all the I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, and
yep,
it pays off in the end, doesn't it?
It sure does, because people get to see what ordinarily they would not be able to watch.
I got a message from one of our listeners who wants me to ask you, how does it feel to be part of history now?
Wow, that's a pretty big statement. It feels pretty good. I mean, I guess it is part of history. It's just an overwhelming feeling sometimes that you get, but I stay grounded, But it feels good.
So let's just wrap up. Roswell Rods, we're going to work on something with you to get... Maybe we should just try, get everybody joining in for 1 week. That's a great idea. Yeah. And when it comes to the structures on the moon, what's the next step?
I was planning to do an IMAX movie about the moon called 100 Miles from the Moon. But I'm getting a lot of resistance from the museums that present the IMAX films because they're tied in with NASA. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to put on a film about the full-color photography of the moon that NASA has not released. So it's pretty crazy, the resistance I'm getting. But I've got some new stuff that I found on the surface of the moon, and I'm getting some new software. And the next moon film is going to be pretty awesome, man. Excellent. Yes.
As always, my good friend, time goes by so fast when you're with us. What are your final thoughts for tonight, my man?
I just want to apologize for everyone for upchucking. But I really enjoy being on your show, Rob. It's always a great pleasure to be on your show and present the stuff that is tough enough, man. So thank you so much for having me on.
The microphone is always open for you, my friend, and, upchucking is part of life. Right? Right. All right, Jose, take care of yourself. And Exonation, if you'd like to find out more about Jose, his website is tblnfilms.com. That's www.tblnfilms.com. Now first, somebody upchucking on the show. When I got the note from the person about how does it feel to be part of history, I thought the person was going to talk about Jose upchucking on the show, but oh no, it was about the Roswell rods, which it should have been. I'll be back on the other side of this break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Amanda Curran joins me, and it's just going to be coffee time chat here in the X Zone with my producer as we continue investigating the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology right here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away, X Zone Nation. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.